Hi, Rozz.
Hey, Jackson.
Happy Saturday, or
And
happy Friday to our listeners.
Happy Good Friday.
Happy Great Friday. That was offensive. How have you been?
I've been well. So this is Saturday. We're recording, but it's coming to you on Good Friday. I just got back from the March for Our Lives.
I'm pouring coffee.
And you're pouring coffee. So I'm doing pretty well. I had a nice week. It's fun to get back into this routine of doing it on the weekends, although it has been kind of fun to record and then put it out right away. But things are good. It's sunny. We're at your apartment.
It is very sunny. I'm sweltering for the first time this year, maybe. I'm in a very
Is that how you're doing?
revealing tank top. And I did not go to the march, but I heard that it was densely attended, which is amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just think it's so, I don't know, wonderful that it's a movement created by and managed by these students, and that there's been such a response, but
they're controlling their narrative.
Right. It makes me want to cry. So we stand with the students of Parkland and across the United States who are really doing more than any of our elected officials are to make a change around gun control. So shout out to those all those wonderful teens.
Now, this is going to seem like an inappropriate pivot or a segue. But it is Good Friday, and it is the day Christians and Catholics believe that Jesus was crucified, died, and was buried. I
really appreciate that you distinguish between Christians and Catholics. I just know that Patrick would really appreciate that distinction, that, they're not the same thing.
Yeah. So, and then 3 days later, he rises again. So we had said, which again, this seems like an awkward pivot, that around this time we would do celebrities we would die for, go to bat. I'll just say go to bat for.
Right.
So in conjunction of everything we just said.
It's a really messy connection.
It isn't messy. It's not great. But I'm just saying is that if your brain was whoa, death and destruction, and now you're talking throwing celebrity in there. That's where we are.
Yep,
we're here.
That's what the podcast is.
Yeah. So this week, instead of I'm combining the game and the person that we're going to explore.
Great.
With this theme. So it's just 3 Mad Libs, just pretty short.
Okay.
Because I realized creating your own Mad Lib is actually a little difficult.
Yeah.
So anyways, so we're going to play this game, and then it'll lead way to who we're actually doing. Who we're going to...
I would die for you.
And this is an indefensive episode. Because again, celebs we would go to bat for. Okay. So I'm
honest. Celebs who would show up at work for.
That's nice. I'd show up at work for this person for sure. All right. Are you ready, Jackson?
I am ready.
And again, viewers, listeners, we're going to post this on our Instagram. I'm going to make it look nicer so you can play along as you listen. So if you're listening, head to our Instagram right now. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready for it? Verb.
Dance.
Noun. Place specific.
Fire Island.
Adjective.
Skinny.
Noun. Place.
Graceland. Graceland.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Graceland.
Graceland. Noun.
Any kind of noun? Toadstool.
Oh. Noun. Clothing.
Crop top.
So that's section 1.
Okay.
Section 2. I'm giving a little pause, so if people are playing along, they can adjust. Verb.
Fight.
Verb.
Okay. Kiss.
Noun that you consume.
Oh, berries.
Oh, sorry. I didn't.
Did that not work?
Oh, wait. No, I think it is. I think if it doesn't work, well.
I really want raspberries right now.
That sounds, well, it's like warm and sunny out that you're like.
I'm like, it's a fall summer right now.
Yeah. Okay, that is 2. So now we're on to 3. Verb.
Christen.
Verb.
Bite.
Preposition.
Behind.
Noun.
Duckling.
Oh. Noun person.
Carmen Electra.
Okay.
Is her real last name Electra?
No, I think the whole name is like made up.
Okay,
yeah.
because it's like it's very good.
Yeah, it's good because of that reason. Okay. So again, I'm not going to say who this person is yet. We're just going to go through these Mad Libs. Now, this comes to you from the section on the trouble with Parisian concierges.
Ooh. Don't I know about those?
When you go to Paris and your concierge dances you to some fire island because they get a kickback, it's like, no, where should I really be? Where is the skinny Graceland with organic toadstool? Where do I get a crop top wax in Paris? That one's pretty good.
Yeah.
That one worked out well.
Where do I get a crop top wax in Paris? You gotta.
Inquiring minds want to know.
You want the happy treble low, but you don't want any hair above.
You don't. Yeah, you don't want any. You don't want a hairy chest.
Section right here. You really just need that like the Selena strip between like a high waisted pant and a crop top that you want hairless.
Oh yeah, it would just be that. I don't know. I was thinking the part that a crop top covers. Okay. I'd rather fight crack than kiss berries from a tin. I'd rather fight crack than kiss berries from a tin. That works. Now this one is on hallucinating in Sedona, Arizona.
Been there, done that.
I'll never christen it. I was starting to bite up the red rocks, and honestly, it was as if I heard the rock say, "You have the duckling. You are your Carmen Electra." I thought I was having an auditory hallucination.
These
That's good.
Yeah.
So
are you going to read the real quotes?
Yeah, I'm going to read the real quotes right now.
I'm dying to know what is in a tin.
When you go to Paris and your concierge sends you to some restaurant because they get a kickback, it's like, no, where should I really be? Where's the great bar with organic wine? Where do I get a bikini wax in Paris?
Important, but not as important as the crop top wax. I stand by it.
I'd rather smoke crack than eat cheese from a tin.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh. And my favorite, on hallucinating in Sedona, Arizona. I'll never forget it. I was starting to hike up the red rocks, and honestly, it was as if I heard the rock say, "You have the answers. You are your teacher." I thought I was having an auditory hallucination.
You're your teacher, and I'm my Carmen Electra.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. So
do you think she smoked that crack to avoid some tin cheese before she hit the red rocks?
I don't know. Like, we'll have to, maybe one day we'll ask her.
Maybe one day. She does have a podcast.
She does. And we are talking about the one, the only Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwen. I mean, that's Gwen Stefani is the reference of Gwen. But she's our Gwenny.
So I've known for a long time that you're a big fan of Gwyneth Paltrow. I work at a food company, and I used to get, or we still do, get cookbooks for review.
Yeah.
And I would get her cookbook sometimes, and I bring them home to you.
Yeah, you gave me It's All Easy, and I love it.
It's all easy.
It's all easy. It's all good. It's all easy. So this episode is breaking the format a little bit because as much as it might seem we like to talk shit about a lot of people, we do have a lot of love in our hearts, and sometimes it's hard to think about people you don't like or people you do like that are problematic.
Yeah.
So this is someone that is in defense of Gwyneth Paltrow.
So you're basically starting at the point of, I know that she has problems and I want to address.
Yeah, I feel like I'm her publicist almost. Like, let's
in.
take these issues that people have with her. So in a similar format of like our litany of offenses, there are issues with, she's often listed as like one of the most hated celebrities. I mean, now not so much because I think we as a culture are able to like palate like all this lifestyle stuff and like,
right. I mean, she created like a cottage industry for other celebrities
to
follow.
But not even other celebrities. It's like now
all these the whole internet, like the influencer culture.
Right. That have like cookbooks and blogs and like Minimalist Baker and Sally's Baking Addiction and Issa's been doing her stuff like a long time too. So Issa, whose last name I'm blanking on. Issa Chandrowitz?
Issa Chandra Moskowitz. It's on the floor in my bedroom.
Okay, so
there were too many books on the bookshelf, so we hid some of them.
Well, anyways, she's someone who just catches a lot of flack for everything that she does.
Yeah.
But I think she takes it well. Like, she is kind of like Teflon in terms of personality, where she just like does not let it affect her. 'Cause she's like, okay, next. Like, there are bigger things to deal with. So I think the first thing is the overall goop lifestyle that people are like, huh? Like a $5,000 sweater,
yeah, right.
a $25,000 this, it's like, I mean.
Right. Like, oh, I'd love to hear more about your favorite yurts.
Yeah. And other things people would like to hear about, like on this website, Betches, the most absurd items from Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop gift guide. And this is from 2017. There's an $800 platinum plated, vibrator. There is a 3-piece cheese knife set for $425. Some of these don't even like a large standing bowl for $110.
That seems cheap to me.
You'd Food 52 for under 18. JD Salinger book set, Catcher in the Rye design, $175. Of course, like, this isn't like just loading, so I'm just scrolling to see whatever will else pop up. But like, you get the picture. Like, there's these aren't for everyone.
Right.
They're, like you said, it's a cottage industry. It's niche. But the bigger thing that I'm saying in defense of Gwyneth Paltrow, Goop isn't for everyone. Goop is for her to express herself. Her Goop guide, she's not Oprah. She doesn't touch every woman. Like, the thing in my defense here is that she's never claimed to be anybody that she's not.
I think that's fair. I do see a little bit of like Oprah light aspirations in her. So like when the Goop podcast launched like last month, or maybe it's this month, right before A Wrinkle in Time came out, she interviewed Oprah for the premiere episode. Right, which obviously, like, who doesn't look up to Oprah?
Right.
But I do hear in her talking about like her plan with Goop, like an idea to sort of replicate the Oprah model. I mean, except that like no one is going to have the reach that Oprah did. So like there's no reason to assume that you could like need to be universal or even be able to be universal.
But the thing that I don't fully agree with in saying that is Oprah was all about like enhancing women's lives and like finding like the inside of their souls and like providing them to just like, what is her like tour, like Oprah's Best Life tour or whatever?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She had a tour that she like her fitness people that she liked, her motivational speakers that she liked, like they all went on tour. Oprah's Best Life tour, I think it's called. And I just see the two of them as so different. They occupy a similar space, but the way they go about it is so different. Sure. And it's not like, oh, Oprah's so much more relatable. Like, Oprah's the first to tell you, like, she has not flown commercials since, like, the 80s.
I think,
you know?
Yeah, I think what makes Oprah always more relatable than Gwyneth Paltrow is that she didn't start
with like a leg up,
any sort of leg up. So like Oprah being like a fully self-made woman, and like that, I mean, no one is self-made, but like Oprah didn't come from money at all,
right?
Whereas like Gwyneth Paltrow's parents were both very successful, and like also like a part of like the entertainment industry,
right? But this is, I think, too, part of it is that like she's not trying to compete in the space of Oprah. She's like, oh, I love wearing this sweater and it makes me feel good. And Oprah has her favorite things.
Right.
But it's like different. It's like, oh, you know what? I'm teaching you how to like figure out what you want to do, how to feel safe, blah, blah, blah. And as an added bonus, like these are things that I love. Oprah doesn't have a clothing line.
Right. I think the Gwyneth Paltrow model and what makes it like fun or interesting, if it like speaks to you, is that idea that like Gwyneth Paltrow is someone who could buy a sweater anywhere. So if she's telling me like, wow, I really love this $800 cashmere sweater, it like is better than anything else in my closet, it's like, shit, she has a great closet. Like maybe the sweater is worth it.
I think there's something aspirational about this thing she posts on Goop and her lifestyle stuff. But it's also just, I'm fascinated that she never gives cheaper alternatives. Like, I just find that a fascinating model. That's like, this is it. Like, because I'm not going to compromise. Like, I think this is the best thing. And you're like, okay. Honestly, the products don't really bother me how overpriced they are, because a lot of her lifestyle stuff is very accessible. Like the tips she gives, the tools she gives.
Right. Also just like a little industry insider knowledge, but Gwyneth Paltrow isn't picking the products that are sold on Goop. She has buyers that work for her online shop that do this, and they base it off of market research and also what is selling for them.
Like, people are buying this.
Like, if you see something and you're like, ugh, why is that the 5th cashmere like cow neck sweater they're selling? It's because the last 4 of them, the audience bought them, or they wouldn't be launching more of them.
I mean, I think it's safe to say that like women who are buying off of Goop watched Mosaic with Sharon Stone and were like, we need that cashmere sweater. So they were like that.
Women and me. It looks so cozy.
So in like the vein of this whole like Goop, a lot of the lifestyle stuff she comes under fire for don't necessarily have to do with like the cost of things. It's like telling women to put jade eggs up their
yoni eggs.
Mm-hmm, the yoni eggs. And she gets all this criticism for these things, and people are like, oh my God, like a doctor didn't say to do that, blah, blah, blah. Some like the facial for your vagina.
Or like steaming your vagina.
Yeah, that's what I mean, the steaming. And some people are like, doctors like, oh, that really messed up the pH, blah, blah, blah. So outside of those things, some of the stuff like the jade egg stuff, it's like rooted in Eastern medicine.
I also, like along those lines, 2 points.
Yeah.
One, the one thing that Gwyneth Paltrow and Oprah both have deeply in common is a true love of pseudoscience. Like, excited for anything you could call alternative medicine or like an alternative approach. They'll try it out. They'll recommend it on air. Like, they both love that shit. It's very apparent if you listen to the interview between them. It's like, oh, of course people have a problem with it. Like, it's like two people like egging each other on. Like, recommend more, do more.
Yeah.
Which is like neither here nor there. Like, I know a friend of the pod, Ian Hartz, if you're listening, I know that you despise pseudoscience and it makes you crazy. I think it's funny or fun or like worth. Some of it's like worth, like if it's like not like cure your cancer with like acai berries, right. But like if it's like, hey, this might help with like, I don't know,
like stress or anxiety, right? Like, or inflammation or bloating, and
right, down to try that out.
Yeah, I think why it's also like in defense of Gwyneth Paltrow, she doesn't claim to be a scientist. But I'm going to go back to the thing about like sometimes a lot of these pseudosciences are rooted in like indigenous cultures and like Eastern medicine and like these ideas that have been like whitewashed and watered down of like this idea of the soul and like how everything's connected and like the law of attraction. And I just think that people are so dismissive of it. And it's just like the stones and the quartz and people are like, there's like nothing behind it. It's like the closed-mindedness. I mean, like there's no science behind it. It's like, well, nobody studies this. Nobody puts.
I think though that like puts us on a different track with her, which is like, even if you're maybe open to it, the idea of like a rich blonde white woman telling you about Eastern medicine might just be like.
But she's not saying that it's Eastern medicine. It's just like these things are like rooted in those histories and cultures.
Like saying it's been like watered down and whitewashed, and not for Gwyneth Paltrow to recommend it to you, like, is I think like another point of contention that people might have.
Right, but I don't hear anyone bringing it up. Like that's not the reason people hate Gwyneth Paltrow.
That's fair. I'm not
like it's right. That's not. That is simply not. Like you can get on her about like her cookbooks are very heavily Asian influenced.
Yeah.
And that like surprises people.
All right. The last thing I wanted to say when we were talking about yoni eggs that I do really appreciate about Gwyneth Paltrow is how open she is about like using sex toys and like buying a beautiful sex toy that you're going to want to use. Like I find that inspiring.
But don't you think it's interesting? It's like nobody in our like puritanical culture, like nobody, the headline is never about like how she's using this for enjoyment. It's like, can you believe it's $800? Or
right.
But it's also like
we need a vibrator that every woman can afford.
Yeah. But I think that it is fascinating that she has like burst vibrators onto this national conversation because people are like, or like the things women will do for pleasure to like rebalance themselves and
right. Or like steaming your vagina or like considering the pH of it or.
Yeah. I'm just like, I know that there are issues with Gwyneth Paltrow and she's not everybody's cup of tea, but a lot of it to me is just sexist.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's right. Because it's like, if you don't like Goop, then don't subscribe to her newsletter.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's
she's not everywhere. That's the thing about Gwyneth Paltrow.
She's very avoidable. She like
she stays in her lane.
Right.
She's not trying to be everything to everybody. So that's why like I get so angry because I'm like, she's in like one franchise movie.
Yeah, and that's also like almost the only movie she appears in. Usually for like a 5-minute cameo, you know they paid so much for her.
Because she said like she just like it's no longer. In her conversation with Oprah, she's like, there's things that made me step away from acting. And it's like dealing with my own trauma. And I thought, I left to raise my kid, start Goop, kids.
Moses and Apple. So, right. I think like the goopiness of it all, like sort of like the lifestyle aspect, I think like I can agree with you. It's like, it is like what it is. You can like visit the website or subscribe to the newsletter or buy the magazine if you want to. Otherwise, like
it's harmless,
right? It's like the worst thing she's going to do is tell you that water can like take on positive and negative energy depending on like if you like are nice to it or not. And like so, if you want to like sweet talk your water, like go ahead and try it.
I think she's not putting the thing is she's not putting any negativity out in the world. Like if anything, it's like, oh, buy organic when you can, or like, oh, you want to avoid these harmful chemicals. Like it's nothing. It just frustrates me that people, it's like she is not shoving this down our throats. She's literally doing her thing, living her life, and this is a passion that she's had, and she's got to be employing a lot of people.
Yeah. And
they're putting positive things out in the world. It's like they're not like being like everyone should buy stock in ExxonMobil. They're not like doing that.
I love Halliburton.
Yeah.
And here's why.
And so that kind of leads me to the SNAP challenge fail. Now SNAP being supplemental nutrition assistance program. Now there was, I think when they were cutting the benefits to the SNAP program, a lot of like Mario Batali, her former friend.
I was going to say. Anyway,
are they friends still?
They
were very close.
I mean, I was looking at this article about the Snap challenge and the brouhaha that ensued afterwards.
Yeah.
Or the brouhaha that followed. And the first sentence is Mario Batali, like in parentheses, great guy or something, or like greatest guy. Something that.
Because her first cookbook, Recipes for My Father.
Yeah.
Were a lot of Italian recipes like that. Mario Batali like helped her. Because she always like teams up with really great.
I was gonna say that's one thing I love about her cookbooks. Like, It's All Good she wrote with Julia Turshen.
Yeah.
So it's like,
queen.
And like also she didn't ghostwrite it with Julia Turshen. Like her name is.
And Julia's in the photos.
By Gwyneth and Julia Turshen,
Yeah.
and like she mentions her. Like if it's her recipe, it's like Julia brought me this recipe, and like I loved it, and then like I wanted to tweak it.
And it's an intro from Julie.
Right. Tweak it in this way. Like I really appreciate like how transparent she is about like I like this stuff and I know that like my face and name on it is going to get people interested.
Right.
But I'm also not claiming to be like a recipe developer.
Exactly. So that's why I mean, we'll talk about her cookbooks, when I just go on a full rant of my love for her. But so with this Snap Challenge fail, she bought so it's like $4 a day, essentially what it breaks down to. And so she bought like 3 limes, like 4 sweet potatoes, black beans, avocado, and that might have been it. It was just very limited, whatever. People are like, how do you make a meal out of that, blah, blah. And people just got on her case about how terribly she failed, yet overlooked the fact that you cannot live off of Snap, and that's why she did the challenge. It's not supposed to be like, oh my God, Gwyneth Paltrow. It wasn't so this like rich, privileged white woman can show people on Snap how to like eat a nutritious meal. Like that was not the point.
Right. The point is you can't eat a nutrition, like you can't eat like healthily or like whole foods or even like frozen vegetables and like make just like basic things like black bean tacos, like
right.
Not like making filet mignon, not making something that's like super expensive. You can't live off of what a SNAP benefit provides.
Right. And it's just like the backlash wasn't like it was all the backlash was against Gwyneth Paltrow and not like this program. So being like, oh, this is unrealistic. The system is failing, not Gwyneth Paltrow. And I feel like she did try and like shift that, but like people are so quick to hate her. It's like, whatever. Like that's why she did it. She did it to prove that it's.
Right. And it was a challenge that was started by the Food Bank of New York.
Yeah.
So it's like playing into it and bringing attention to it.
Also, it's like if she. I just don't get how nobody was going to win with that. Like you can't win. That's the point of it. Of like doing that challenge.
Of the challenge, right? It's not like, look, I made like so many meals and I only needed like I saved $5.
It's like
no, you didn't.
No.
Yeah.
No. So like that's one thing that like a lot of people are like, oh, she's so out of touch. If you saw that challenge and you got upset with Gwyneth Paltrow and not our government's assistance programs, then you need to like go check yourself, take a moment.
Right. It's like misplaced anger.
Yeah.
Over like, you don't know what it's like to be hungry. And it's like, yeah, I know I don't.
That's what she's saying. Like,
it's like, but a lot of people do because we only provide them with less than $30 a week of SNAP benefits to feed themselves and potentially their families. And yet, yeah, people are mad at Gwyneth Paltrow for like showing this inadequacy instead of being mad about the inadequacy and wanting to do something to change it.
Exactly. Like Snap challenge fail. So the third in defense of is her use of language and how that's often construed as being out of touch. Or like, I mean, the whole thing with people are like, she's out of touch. And again, my overall thing is like, she's not claiming to be every woman. She's not claiming to have had the experience I had or you had. That's not her.
Right.
Like she's just not.
I think in some ways Gwyneth Paltrow is just claiming like to have an incredibly privileged experience.
That's the thing. Is
wow,
that's what
look at like what my privilege has allowed me to explore, and it's like almost like I'm allowed to be like a test case for these different things because like I can afford it and like I can also afford like the backlash that comes from it. So like she plays a character, but also like in some ways I think is like saying like, or like thinking like, I'm doing this on behalf of other women because I can manage it and I can handle it.
Yeah, it truly doesn't seem to affect her. And also like she does good things. Like this is the thing, she's not heavily promoting anything ever. Like, yeah, she does stuff on Goop and like blah, blah, blah. But it's like she does a lot of charity work that like we don't like. She hosts a lot of things for charities. And it's just like she's never shoving anything down our throats. And I hate that I keep using that phrase, but it's not. When people are like, get it out of my face. Like,
I mean, honestly, like almost nothing that is actually being shoved down our throats do we talk about like that. Like no one's out here being like, wow, the NRA is really fucking shoving gun rights or the concept of the Second Amendment being all encompassing and including like semi-automatic weapons. No one's saying like that's being shoved down my throat, but it's like if I were to kiss my boyfriend, like when Gus Kenworthy kissed his boyfriend on the Olympics,
they were like,
and like he didn't even know he was on camera, and then he's like, well, that's great, like didn't plan for it, but like cool, glad that happened. And it's like, stop shoving your gay agenda down our throats. It's like, shut the fuck up, let people live their lives, also like let people live their lives and stop fucking allowing semi-automatic and automatic weapons in the United States.
Yeah.
Like, the things that are actually shoved down our throats as citizens, you're fucking ignoring.
Well, also, it's like the things that people get upset with are literally things that people are like positive. It's
Sorry,
like,
I just truly lost my mind.
No, but it's true. Like Gus Kenworthy was literally like spreading love and like sharing joy with his boyfriend or fiance. Boyfriend?
It's just boyfriend, I think. But they do have a really cute dog together now.
Oh, they adopted when they were there. But it's like the things that we don't get, like it's like those are all positive things. Like Gwyneth Paltrow, like I will go so far as to say that what she's putting out in the world is positive, because she's not like being like slap your kids and slap your wife and like gay people suck. Like she's not saying any of that. She's like
or like poor people are disgusting. Like,
she's like, ew, you can't afford my $5,000 sweater. And she's also had a quote where she's like, and people were like, oh, she's with the language, like she's so out of touch. She was like, I don't claim to be someone who makes $25,000 a year. And that pissed people off. How does she win?
Right. Okay, so let's dig into the language a little bit, because I think I sort of proposed this in a way because I was thinking specifically around how she manages her relationships. Mm-hmm. So she famously was married to Chris Martin from Coldplay, and when they divorced, she announced it on Goop in a newsletter as they weren't divorcing, they were consciously uncoupling. Yeah. Which really riled a lot of people up.
And everyone's like, oh man, it's so hilarious. Like, of course. And it's like, oh, let you finish.
And then like recently has like talks about like how they have still like a great relationship and like co-parenting structure, and that she like now views him as like a brother, which again like really did not sit well with a lot of people, which I can like see both sides here in a way. Like the brother comment especially is like, you have 2 kids just with like this person. Right, like you guys used to fuck, like he's not like your brother. I'm back to cursing a lot on the show. You guys used to make love.
You guys used to do it.
You guys used to be intimate. But so like that is a little bit weird, but I like, it's also like, I think more so like showing the limitations of language to be like, well, he's not like a friend to me and he's not my husband anymore. And like calling him my ex-husband seems like
there's a negative connotation.
So it's like trying to like be like, we have like a very weird relationship, but it like is still familial, and so like that's like the closest.
It's like where language fails.
Touchstone. And I think it's the same thing honestly with conscious uncoupling. It's like, here's a concept, because like divorce is so negative, like sometimes like feels like violent in a way, like it's like ripping apart. And so it's like, no, we like just don't want to be a couple anymore. We've thought about it like a lot, talked through it, like have done the work to see if we can like stay together, and we can't. I mean, so it's just like coming up with like a nicer way to say it, but also maybe it's like trying to encompass how they're approaching it. Which like, right, it's like kind of laughable in that like, oh, like you even think like your divorce is nicer than mine, is I think like what people have an issue with.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, maybe Gwyneth Paltrow can also have a nicer divorce than the rest of us in a way. I mean, like, honestly, it's like she doesn't like have like the economic like ties to her husband that would require her to stay with someone that she was no longer in love with, or like, I mean, she's also like looks like Gwyneth Paltrow does in her 40s, like can like find a second love, second romance, and like not have it seem like an old woman dating someone.
Right.
Like in a lot of ways, like not many other women could have 2 kids in like a decade plus long relationship with someone and then like get divorced and be like, I'm still so fucking hot.
Yeah.
And effing hot. Whatever.
Whoa.
This episode is PG-13 at best.
Whoa. But so with the conscious uncoupling, like that is not a phrase she created.
Right. I mean, she's
like it's like a theory. Yeah, she's popularized it. But in like the realm of Gwyneth Paltrow, people are like hating on it. It's like, actually, it's a very beautiful concept that you have 2 kids and that you've tried your best to make this relationship work, but you're going through it to consciously uncouple. Like you're not just like ripping apart your family and being like, we hate each other. And it's not the quote that's like, what does everyone say? Like, we mutually came to this decision. Like, there's nothing but love and mutual respect. Like,
right. Well, we remain best friends.
Right. And they're like, we remain best friends. It's like, they actually do remain best friends. They like go on they still go on family vacations because it's like, this is important.
Right.
This is important for our kids.
Or like get dinner with like their partner, like
right.
new partners, like Gwyneth and Brad.
I also just think they didn't have sex for a long time. Like, I really think that's like part of it, that they just like stopped having sex.
I mean, it kind of seems that way, right? It like seems like they just like drifted into like a very platonic space and like maybe didn't want a platonic feeling relationship for the rest of their lives. But yeah, I just like, in some ways I think it's like better for, I don't know, like I don't have divorced parents, but like it like kind of seems better to like find a relationship you're passionate about than like stick it out like in the exact way that it's set up just because like you're afraid of divorcing.
Right. But I also think it's like in this language and in this theory, it's like putting your family first. And it's like, we're separating because we no longer have this like love, but like we still are a family. And it's like, we're like, not like we are, it's truly trying to stick to that concept. Like nothing's going to change. We're just not going to live here. It's like, no, like we're still going to go to all your things. We're still going to eat dinner together some nights. We're still going to like be a unit.
Right.
But we're going to like find love in other places.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think kind of what I was trying to get at. Like,
yeah,
in a way, I feel like it's a better model for your kids to like see you in a passionate relationship than like mom and dad don't kiss.
Well, but don't you also think it's like they're just doing divorce? Like I said, maybe just she divorces better than everyone else. Like it's what people want to be able to say when they divorce. It's not nasty.
Right. It's
they grew
like it really visibly isn't a nasty divorce.
No, and they honestly both like feel like they're living their best life now.
Chris Martin is.
He dates too young.
Way too young.
Yeah, it's like a Ryan Felipe thing where you're like, whoa. Your wives are like with like nice
the opposite of a conscious uncoupling.
Yeah.
Although a similar lifestylist, Miss Reese Witherspoon with her Draper James. Do you remember, just as a sidebar, what Blake Lively's lifestyle blog shop was called?
It started with a B. It was like it's not like Beholden, but it's like it's like
starts with an R.
Is it not like Bespoke? Bespoke.
Oh my God, Preserve.
Preserve. I was close.
It shut down in 2015. I can't believe
it was short-lived
for that long.
That was one that just seemed so, like, people think, like, oh, Gwyneth's like, no, hers was, like, trying so hard. Like, your favorite artisanal products from all over the world.
I think also, like, what is interesting about Goop is that Gwyneth Paltrow, like, truly feels like she did the legwork, like, in advance of launching this. And it's like, she'd already been living, like, this fabulous lifestyle and, like, really thinking a lot about, like, what she wanted out of her life.
Right. And it already, like, been known amongst her friend groups of, like, being the go-to person for, like, food.
Gwyneth, like, what I should do.
Yeah.
Like, she's, like, the person you go to and be like, how do I make better coffee?
Yeah, and she's like, here, hun.
Or, like, what restaurant should I go to? And, like, where should I get a bikini wax in Paris?
It's like she asked the good questions.
You need, like, someone to answer questions like that for you. And, like, Goop exists so that someone always is there to be like, listen, if you want the best, like
who better than something recommended?
The best options for you. If you can't afford them, like, have something worse. But, like, if you wanted the best, like, this is what you should have gotten.
Want something that Gwyneth can vouch for.
Whereas, like, a Blake Lively, it's just like, she's not old enough for me to trust that.
I also just don't, because literally Preserve was about, like, American handmade products. And in that sense, that seems like you're going out and looking for things, not things that are already, like, you're already naturally doing. Like, Gwyneth Paltrow seems like the person that, like you said, people go to for these things.
Right.
I wouldn't be like, you know what? I'm looking for, like, a really good side table.
What does Blake Lively think about
like,
side
where
tables?
can I find that that's, like, custom made in the U.S. by, like, a cute hipster couple living in Wisconsin? Like, where can I find that perfect table?
What I do want to say that I love about Blake Lively's Preserve is that she got 2 separate Vogue covers out of this website. One for when it began and one for when it ended.
Good for her.
Also, I'm looking at a picture of her right now. She really is beautiful. I just want to, like, say something nice about Blake Lively. I love this Ralph Lauren, like, inspired shoot that happened in 2014 here.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's doubting that she's beautiful. Veronica Beastings. Wait. Did you not read Ted Casablanca's, or what was it, the blind items, like on E or something? It was like she was obviously Veronica Beastings.
She's having a happy life now.
She is. I'm like, honestly, like, her and Ryan Reynolds are just like
she is working towards a place where she could launch Preserve now. She, like, has a family.
Exactly.
Like
maybe she'll do, like, a parent thing, like a parenting.
Right. Like, you know what? Like, she, like, now is getting to a stage where I'm like, I wonder what she's doing. But when she launched Preserve, I was like,
I think that
you're pretty.
Blake Lively, there's something in between Honest and Goop. And if she finds that sweet spot in the middle, that's her.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it.
That's our business advice for Blake Lively. So
there were other things that you think that people you had brought up, like, that you find annoying or frustrating.
Right. So I think one of the bigger things is when Gwyneth was talking about, like, life on set and how, like, difficult it is to be away from your kids. Her quote was, I think it's different when you have an office job because it's routine and, you know, you can do all the stuff in the morning and then come home in the evening. When you're shooting a movie, they're like, we need you to go to Wisconsin for 2 weeks. And then you work 14 hours a day, and that part of it is very difficult. I think to have a regular job and be a mom is not as, of course there are challenges, but it's not like being on set. And this woman, Mackenzie Dawson, wrote, like, a response to her on the New York Post. I don't even know what website I'm on. Anyway, sometimes I think, like, Gwyneth's language, even though we've been sort of, like, praising the consideration she puts into it, like, sometimes, like, her pull quotes sound worse than the intent behind them.
Right.
And I think, like, that's the same thing that's happening here, where it's like she's not really saying that, like, it's easier to have it all when you're working, like, a regular job. She's mostly, like, praising the concept of being able to have a routine and why she doesn't like to be, like, filming because she can't have,
like, a structured
routine with her children. So I think, like, her mistake here is maybe making like a comparison between like a regular mom and like a movie.
Yeah,
like
but it's also, this is a
movies.
pull quote.
Right.
It's a, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I know.
And so like, I do get how people can find that frustrating, but on Anna Faris's podcast, she talks about like working on Mom, right, and how she's like, it's such a cushy setup because I have pretty much the same schedule every week.
Right.
I'm able to be home. So it's like I think, it just is that disconnect of like, it didn't come across in this pull quote that she's like, oh, like when you have a routine, like exactly what you're saying.
Right.
And it's also, I think when you put it in the larger context of like, she doesn't really act anymore.
Yeah.
Because she wants to be with her kids and she can afford to do that.
Right.
And so that's like what she's saying. And she's like, you know, I don't know. I get how people can be like, I don't think she's saying that these working moms have it easier than her. She's just saying that like she values time with her kids, and it's cool that these people can know when they're actually going to see their kids.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, I'm a very routine person, mm-hmm, and that's without having children, just like being able to take care of myself and
your
my
business,
like needs day to day. It's like, I don't want to have a meeting until like 10 o'clock in the morning because I want to come into work at like 9:30 and eat my breakfast as I like check my email after going to the gym in the morning, and like have a coffee and like just like settle in before like I interact with other people. And it's like on days when someone's like, oh, we actually going to have like an early morning meeting,
you're like, no,
ruins my night before and that day. And it's like,
you're a creature
like
of habit.
Difference of like an hour, right?
Yeah.
I'm like deeply a creature of habit. And so it's like, if my life like alternated between like not working at all and then like working all day long for like 2 months, like that would be difficult for me. And like also like children are very much like
creatures of
habitual and like on like purpose. Like a school day is like the school year is structured in like a very habit forming way. And so it's like, if you can't be there to be part of that habit, like it is also probably throwing your children's off
lives.
But again, like Gwyneth Paltrow, like I don't think that she's not recognizing her privilege here. She's like making a very different point.
Yeah, it's like, and everyone
it's, like,
always
being picked up as like, oh, it must be so hard to be like a millionaire movie star.
The takeaways from her pull quotes are always the wrong things, and you're like, okay, like that's not.
Yeah.
But speaking of her kids, they have an Uncle Jay and Auntie B, mm-hmm, which she frequently mentions in her interviews. And that is something that you brought up that kind of annoys you.
I don't know if it like deeply annoys me, but I like,
it does annoy a lot of people.
I have like seen people bristle at it, like when Gwyneth Paltrow like name drops Jay-Z, especially more so than Beyonce, I think.
Well, they went on, I think it was like when Coldplay was on tour and Jay-Z was also on tour, so she was like going to his shows a lot, remember?
Yeah. Anyway, so there was people just are like, don't believe in the friendship, or like are very annoyed by the name droppingness of it. And what I was saying to you about it is that I think maybe what is like behind some of that is that Gwyneth Paltrow, although we've been on here like praising like how we think she's actually like a very genuine person, like a lot of people see her as like fake or calculated, and it's like, oh, you're just like presenting like the perfect life, but you can't be as perfect as you're pretending to be, and that makes people feel like she's fake in a way. Like her like warm, sunshiny, like Instagram filtered life like is off-putting to people when they're like, nothing can be that good. And like I think people have a similar reaction to Beyonce because she has such a like wall between her private life and her like public self. And like the only way she lets you behind that wall is like through something she's curated herself. So like the Life is But a Dream documentary is like off-putting to me and to a lot of people, because it's like, this didn't show me anything except that like you think you're super interesting. Oh,
that you truly control the narrative.
Right. And
which is great, but at the same time, I'm like, I wanted to know more about you. Don't give me a documentary about your life that's intimate and I don't learn anything.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think like when you combine those two people and like, oh, we're best friends, it seems like a friendship of convenience at points, which I don't think it is, because it's like a friendship of convenience for like a decade now. Right. But like,
and I like how fiercely private both of them are about that relationship.
Or really about about their relationships in general. Right. Like they both give interviews when they feel like it. I mean, Beyonce's like almost completely stopped giving interviews. Right. entirely. Like she was on the cover of Vogue and she still didn't give them an interview. They like wrote like a think piece about her and she like let them take her picture, which is like kind of inspired. It's like I think we're like so used to access that we crave it. And when we don't get it, we're frustrated and like.
Well, and it's funny with someone like Gwyneth. It's like we actually don't have that much access to Gwyneth, which is funny.
Right. Like I was honestly when she launched Goop magazine, the second issue is her and Brad Falchuk on the cover. And when I saw it on the newsstand, I was like, who is that? Who is this model she's posing with, like her love issue? Because I couldn't believe that like she would have like done a photo shoot with him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy, but it's like
I don't think she could either. Like the way she talks about it, she was like, you know, I was meant to be with Chris and I was meant to like have these kids, but like Brad is the love of my life. Like I was meant to, you know, in this, I think she's like so overcome with
excitement.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's like we had like Gwyneth and Beyonce are both women who control their own narratives and like you feel closer to them than you are.
Right, which is an incredible like power that they have. Like
right.
So like we feel like we know so much about her, but anytime I watch Gwyneth Paltrow on like because she only does like her friend shows.
Right.
Whenever she's on Chelsea Handler or something, I'm like, oh my God, like you are really fun and you are incredible. And she's so down to earth in these things where she's like, yeah, this is just me. Like those things are true. That's me. But like, I'm a normal person. Like, and it's refreshing to me.
I think.
As she's talking with her friend, Chelsea Handler.
Yeah. What maybe makes both of us pretty open to the goopiness of Gwyneth Paltrow is that we're like both very privileged people. And so like, I guess I'd be interested to hear like if someone like feels negatively about it, like I don't like I'm surrounded by privilege like all day every day.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like we live in New York, which is like I mean it like shows you both sides of the spectrum, but like it's like a very expensive place to live. Like I work at a place that sells like $100 bowl.
Right. You
like
work in like
a Goop competitor in a way. So it's just like, oh, of course I feel like this is normal. Like I see it all the time.
But I think just the thing about Gwyneth is that we go back to, because it's not that we are not critical people. And like if our privilege is getting in the way, like, and certainly is, she's not doing anything negative.
Yeah.
That's my main thing in defense of her is that she's not telling you to like go drink the Kool-Aid and like kill yourself. She's not like, she's pretty harmless because as Patrick walked in and was like, oh, I don't ever think about Gwyneth Paltrow, which if you thought of anyone who would think about Gwyneth Paltrow, I would think it would be Patrick. Like it blows my mind that I'm as obsessed with Gwyneth Paltrow as I am.
Yeah.
Like what? But I love her. And there are things that there's like a quote, like speaking of hate, like I don't know if there's that I want to like close all this out with before I like truly just go on my like quick rant about why I love her. So I don't know if there's anything you want to touch on about.
I think my last thing is just that she has one cigarette every Saturday night sitting outside away from the kids or
it's
whatever.
So, it's so European. Like I love,
no,
like I so like.
It's like, it's like, I'm honestly like leaving this like more positive about her than I entered it, and I already like felt fine about Gwyneth Paltrow.
But this is an in defense episode.
I know, but like it's your defense in a way. Where usually it's the opposite, where it's like each of us brings a case about like why someone's worse than we're realizing.
Yeah.
She's better than we realize. Like there's always going to be a pull quote that's like sort of like mind throttling,
right?
In a way, and like smoking a cigarette once a week is like a mind throttling.
Yeah, it's
quote.
like
it's like, ugh, Gwenny, no, you don't, or like that's not a thing. I don't know. It's just like,
on life's precious balance, you know, I use organic products, but I get laser treatments. It's what makes life interesting. Finding the balance between cigarettes and tofu. Oh my God, I think I just found my literal Instagram bio.
That's like your mission in life.
It is. Like, that is my lifestyle blog's mission.
I think Yeah, so one last thing for me before you get to have your rant is that shout out to I don't even know if she listens to the pod, but my friend Victoria McLaughlin out in Long Beach, California.
Ooh, LBC.
We used to be paralegals together, and we used to joke that we are gonna quit that job to become lifestylists.
Did she?
No, she's a lawyer.
Oh, cool.
She's a
Long
lawyer,
Beach?
and I am like kind of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I work for a lifestyle.
I work for a lifestyle.
I
work for my
honestly,
lifestyle.
So, friend of the pod, Ian, your second shout out of the app, like for the longest time couldn't understand like what my job was. And now he only understands it. And he's just like, oh, you just do lifestyle.
Oh, Jackson just does lifestyle. That's funny.
It's great. I feel like I manifested
well, you need
that for myself.
Well, law of attraction. You need to send this episode then to Victoria.
That's true. Let her know.
Let her know. I'm a lifestyle.
I work for a lifestyle.
Thank you.
But I live to work.
Live to work, love to work. Okay. So just to close out the like Gwyneth Paltrow hate or her haters, she gave an interview. So around the time Goop came out, was that like the peak hate of Gwyneth Paltrow? And she came as like the most top annoying celebrity, like whatever. They have all those rankings where it's like who's the least likable celebrity. And she was ranked that over like Chris Brown. Mm-hmm. So she was like, first of all, I was like, I'm the most hated celebrity, more than like Chris Brown. What did I do? All I can do is be my authentic self. But I think there are things about me that people draw conclusions. So like, you know, she goes on to like describe. This point is something that fascinates me about like her like being more hated than Chris Brown, which is like in and of its own thing. But the worst person on television, Wendy Williams, had a response to this. And I say the worst person because she just spews nothing but negativity. She's like an awful person. She says the worst things about people.
She says really terrible things about people.
Yeah, and she like even lately with Janet Jackson, like before the Super Bowl, it was like, Janet, you can do better, blah, blah, blah. And then it was like, but your music, honey. It's like, there's no full compliment. There's no full support to anyone. It's always shade. So after this, Wendy, how you doing? That's her thing. I'm not like being insensitive. No, like her thing is like, don't ask me how I'm feeling. Ask me how you doing. It's like her thing, and she likes it said that way.
Back to her.
Yeah,
it's a call and response.
Yeah. Speaking on her show, Wendy Williams tried to break it down for the Iron Man actress. She doesn't understand why people hate her more than Chris Brown. I'm going to tell you why, Gwyneth. First of all, your name is Gwyneth, and she also sits in a chair when she does this. It's so funny. And she just literally goes on that she has an uppity name and that it doesn't come off so nice when you teach it. Oh, she also in this segment went and said that like people who worked on her show have worked with Gwen and they have nothing but wonderful things to say about her. See, this is how she like tries to backpedal. Then she goes, but you don't seem so nice when you're trying to teach me how to make a $300 grilled cheese sandwich. It's like, what? How is niceness? Like, I just don't get that.
Right. Whenever I think about a nice grilled cheese sandwich, I think about Devil Wears Prada when Adrian Grenier, the worst character in the movie, is like, come on, there's $30 worth of Jarlsberg in there when Andrea doesn't want to eat.
Because she's like trying to be like,
Andrea. She doesn't want to eat. Yeah, she's trying to get skinny because she's a size 6. And anyway, that's my version of a very expensive grilled cheese is either that or like there was that period of time on like Gossip Girl season 1 where like the most like
butter
indulgent thing you could do is truffle, like have truffle infused, like ooh, truffle French fries or ooh, a truffle grilled cheese. And,
I
like,
still feel the same way.
Serena would have that. And back to Blake Lively.
Does it all come back to Blake now?
No, but like it's just interesting to watch like a junior Gwyneth Paltrow find her way.
Yeah, we'll certainly be following her path. But so I just thought this was funny. And then Wendy closed it out saying, you appear to be uppity and better than us. And maybe that's why people don't like you. Which is kind of like what we're getting at is she comes off this way, but she's like not. Like her heart is in the right place. And also just to be like, I don't know how Wendy's had a show this long because people watch it. and it means like she's just like she's part of this anti-Gwyneth machine is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, it is fascinating to view like Gwyneth Paltrow hatred through
Wendy Williams.
Not through Wendy Williams now, because like there was nothing insightful there. But like,
saying that
like you don't understand why people hate you more than Chris Brown. It's the only answer to that is because you're a woman.
Yeah,
like,
that's
people are always
exactly.
going to hate you more than a man because they're going to give him way more. Like you're not allowed to like expensive vibrators, but Chris Brown is allowed to like
beat the shit out of
women. And then
and that was initially literally my point, but Wendy makes me so angry because she's nasty. She says nasty things. So, you know what, Wendy, in response to that, I'm going to list off my 5 favorite things about Gwyneth Paltrow. The Goop City Guides. If you're ever traveling somewhere, even I use them for New York. Great recommendations.
I mean, New York, I can't go anywhere without reading a guide here because like
there's new things opening and closing every day.
Too many options.
2.
That was a Goop statement. Also, there's just too many options. I have plethora. It's the abundance is killing me.
The abundance is killing me. She's authentically herself. She just is.
Yeah.
She doesn't apologize for who she is. She
likes organic food and yoga and 1 cigarette a week, and that's
it. But she also has a wood fire pizza oven in her backyard,
which I would like to have. 3,
her cookbooks. Now she got a lot of flack for It's All Good because when they like calculated all the stuff you should have in your pantry, it like totaled. There was one item that was really expensive. Like she has a pantry guide of what you should have in, and it said like one of these bags of flour cost like $300 or something, which didn't make sense to me. And I think it was like a huge size or whatever. I will tell you, as someone who regularly cooks out of those books, it's actually very approachable and very affordable. Some things you're like buying new, maybe you don't always have rice wine vinegar or something like that. But then you buy it and you literally use it for all the thing.
Right.
And you can make all of her stuff on the cheap. Like it's so affordable. So that's what like one of the things that blew my mind. And it's very easy. It's very approachable.
It's also like very vegetable and like
very plant-based.
Right, very plant-based, which like in general is going to be more affordable, or you can like find a way to make it more affordable.
And in It's All Good, she's got chicken burgers and turkey burgers, which are like so easy to make, and they're filled with greens and like so many of the ingredients you can use for multiple recipes. And she plans out a week. They're great. The 4th thing I love about her is her undying love of Vegenaise. Which is also like whenever anyone's like, she's so uppity, I'm like, bitch loves Vegenaise.
She loves a store-bought condiment.
And my last thing is her Spanish. She studied abroad in Spain when she was 14 or 15 and has kept up her Spanish. So her kids speak fluent Spanish, also because their nanny speaks Spanish. So when Gwyneth's in Mexico or any Spanish-speaking country, she greets the person in Spanish, and she's like, they're always like, do you want to do the interview? Or they start doing it in English, and she switches to Spanish, says, we can do the interview in Spanish. And they're like, oh, are you sure? She's like, yeah, of course. Like, I'm here. And I just think that's, like, really refreshing because, like, I know Bradley Cooper speaks, like, French, like, whatever. But, like, I feel like you don't see very many people who aren't from like Spanish-speaking countries or have like a Spanish like speaking heritage, like Latinos, like doing that, non-Latinos. And to me, someone like Gwyneth Paltrow, like, oh, she's so uppity. It's like, I don't know. There's something so refreshing about that.
I wish I could be refreshing like that, but I'm terrible at languages.
But I think it's cool. Like it's unexpected.
No, I mean it's very unexpected. It is cool. I was just making like a self-deprecating joke. I'm a horrible person, like Woody Allen.
Oh my God, no.
King of self-deprecation.
Watch out for the self-deprecating man. We're still also looking for that quote.
I know. I don't know if I'm ever going to find it, but if I do, I'm getting it tattooed on myself so I can never lose it.
Send it to me and I'll pin it.
Ooh. That's good. This was fun.
Yeah.
I feel like it was still a little bit of like a we forgive concept because I feel like you convinced me a little bit of like I've let go of like some residual distrust I had for Gwyneth Paltrow.
Which was because she was a woman.
It was. I hate women. No, but Right. I think I was like unpacking like some of the problematic quotes of hers. It's like you get to like
the core of
the meaning behind it versus like the thing that you're like pretending to have an issue with.
Yeah. Well, also when I was like thinking about her this morning, I was like, I think when we were planning out the podcast and thinking about it, this was something that kind of came to mind is like celebrities you love but you know are problematic.
Right.
Like I really don't find her problematic. It's just a lot of people hate her. And again, I go back to we aren't that handful of people, and yeah, we have a lot of issues with certain celebrities, but like
in the NRA.
Yeah, to make this like sustainable, we're gonna like play with the format a little bit and like how we approach forgiveness. And so I hope that you all are able to forgive Gwyneth Paltrow after this.
Yeah.
So it's on you all.
So this is actually, you guys have to do the work now. We already did the work. So read good books. Tell us what they are. Mm-hmm. It's about to be summer, and I'm going to need some beach read suggestions, reading in the park, all that good stuff. Rate, review, subscribe. We haven't gotten a lot of new reviews on iTunes, but I just want to read one or two. First, 5 stars. Hilarious by Sam 2000, whoever that is. And he said, "This is a great podcast." 3 exclamation points. Great pod, 5 stars from somebody named Tamara Hallerton. She sounds like a reporter.
Maybe TMZ.
Maybe a TMZ reporter. She said, Rozz and Jackson are actually making personal progress via the celebrities a certain generation was shaped by, and it's fun and cool to be on this ride. Believe in the journey. Oh, that's actually, I didn't.
Thank you, Tamara.
Thanks so much, Tam. Tam.
You act like you know her.
If I did, I would be very thankful. So it really does make a huge difference if you guys tell your friends about the show.
Rate, review, subscribe.
And leave reviews. It'll help other people find us. And we want a whole forgiveness fam. So
yeah, and also like feel free to comment on our stuff to be like, I really want you to explore this person, because maybe it's people we don't really know about or even come up in our radar, but it's like, oh, we should like look into that.
Right. Somebody. If there's somebody you just have a question about, like
yeah, like should I hate this person? You don't need to do
research. You can just be like,
and we'll be like,
I don't know, what's up with
Bradley Cooper.
And we'll dig in, because it is sometimes hard to find negative feelings.
Right, and so like, we can
not like really.
So we can help you work through them.
And that's it. Have a great Easter if you celebrate, or a great weekend if you don't.
And I just hope it's candy filled.
Bye.
We forget.